Yo, what's up, y'all boys? We already back with another one. So today we're gonna be talking about not why, but how to break the touch barrier in a calibrated way. So fellas, I want y'all boys to know that when it comes to breaking the touch barrier, it isn't about randomly touching a woman and hoping it creates attraction. It's about letting physical contact develop naturally alongside comfort, act simple, regular, and socially normal. So imagine you're gonna do a high five, right? So imagine you're joking about something and she says something funny, right? And you laugh and say, "All right, give me a five." You high five her, right? And immediately continue the conversation. You're not trying to turn a high five into holding her hand. You're simply introducing normal physical interaction. So I'm gonna give y'all boys another low comfort touch example, right? Let's say you do a fist bump, right? So let's say you're talking about something you and the girl agree on, right? So let's say you say, okay, that's actually valid, and you fist bump her. So then you continue talking, right? Imagine that. And let's say at this stage of interaction you are in, let's say you're mainly seeing whether normal social contact feels normal towards her, right? So let's say I'm gonna give you an example for medium comfort, right? So content, you and her been talking for a while. She's engaged. She's laughing, staying near you, and participating in y'all interaction together and y'all conversation together. You can introduce just a little teeny bit, slightly more contact, right? So imagine it's a crowded area and you're walking together, right? And there's a lot of people coming through. Let's pretend you say careful people coming through, right? And if it's appropriate at the time, you briefly guide her around the obstacle guide her through the street with a light contact touch on her upper arm or shoulder, and then you release it. So in that example, the point isn't to find an excuse to touch her, right? The point is that the environment created a natural reason for brief contact. So I want y'all boys to take note of that, all right? And I'm gonna give y'all boys another example. Let's say y'all celebrating something, right? You both win a game or something funny happens and you say, let's go, right? So let's say you say, let's go. She puts her hands up, you high five. If she naturally keeps the interaction going, you can simply follow her energy instead of trying to force another different escalation, right? So that's just staying in the interaction, right? And not trying to force anything. That's what that example is, demonstrating to y'all. So now let's pretend the comfort is high. I'm gonna give y'all boys a couple more examples. So what you would do there is follow the reciprocated energy between you and her if the comfort is high, right? So high comfort doesn't mean now anything goes. That's not what that means, fellas. High comfort means like the interaction has developed enough that you're seeing clear mutual participation and yeah. So you're just following through with it and reciprocating the same energy. So here's an example. She initiates and let's say you're talking close and she repeatedly touches your arm while laughing or naturally stays physically close. You can reciprocate at a similar level instead of immediately trying to jump several steps ahead and maybe touch her neck or, lean in for a kiss or like pull her in for a kiss or like pull her hair or something like that, something intimate, right? You're just staying in the interaction at the natural level that she's showing you she's at when it comes to comfort, and you're not forcing anything, right? So here's another example. Let's say y'all about to move towards a kiss, right? So let's say if the interaction and the conversation between y'all has clearly became romantic because you've seen signs and patterns, and y'all are close to each other, and she's participating, and you're both moving towards each other, slow down and give her room to participate, right? So you can simply ask, "Can I kiss you?" But if she says yes, there's no guessing involved. Or you can really just reciprocate the same energy and see how she reacts. And that'll tell y'all boys everything and move on from there, since the comfort level already high. But I want y'all boys to know this, though. This really what I want y'all boys to know is when to back off, right? So during this like medium touch, not medium touch, but medium comfort, high comfort, or low comfort, if you ever notice her like pulling away, her like moving back, moving her body away, or removing her hand, or becoming noticeably tense, or she stops reciprocating energy or says no, or she even says she's uncomfortable, or she avoids like further physical contact and you trying to escalate, then that's your answer, right? So you would really just release and give her space and continue normally, or stop the physical escalation. Don't try to push through no discomfort, because that's when the attraction level dies and kills, right? And yeah, force it. So the biggest lesson I want y'all boys to remember is, don't think, how do I escalate as quickly as possible, right? Think, what type of level of physical contact is being mutually created right now, right? So low comfort might mean a high five, right? But medium comfort might allow a brief contextual contact, right? High comfort might lead to reciprocal affectionate contact and eventually a kiss, but only when it's genuinely mutual, right? And y'all reciprocating the same energy. And you don't have to climb the entire ladder. If she isn't reciprocating, you can stop at the current level, right? So really what I want y'all boys to know, here's another important factor, right? Every time you touch her, watch how she reacts afterwards. So every time you touch her, watch how she reacts afterwards, and ask yourself in your head, did she participate naturally? Did she stay comfortable, reciprocate, or engaging normally? Did her comfort appear to increase or stay the same, or decrease? Like, look at the overall interaction instead of relying on one isolated movement. Another thing you can ask yourself is, what is her current comfort level, right? So what this does is it can have you just keep updating your working read, instead of assuming the previous comfort level stays the same, right? So what happens next is, if she's clearly comfortable and actively reciprocating physical closeness, it can develop more naturally over time, right? So if she pulls away, or if she becomes more tense, or stops reciprocating, or says no, then you wouldn't escalate, you would just give her space. So y'all boys, I want y'all boys to remember this, but you ain't gotta remember all of it because it's like kind of long. But I just want y'all having y'all head to touch it. So whenever you trying to like test the waters, kind of how I told y'all in this video, how to escalate and break the touch barrier, make sure you touch and observe her reaction, and update your read and match the current comfort level, and continue only with mutual participation, right? So that's why it's so important, every time you touch her, you observe how she reacts, and then you match the current comfort level, right? So that's the core of really how physical calibrated escalation goes. So you're continuously reading the interaction rather than deciding beforehand how far you're going to take it, because that lets you know, okay, I did this, she reacted this way. 5-10 minutes later, I could do this, she might react this way. But I'm not going to expect her to do that, and I'm going to be ready to adjust or recalibrate. All right, so I'm going to catch y'all boys on the next one. I hope y'all got some good notes.